Hello everybody. So, I'm back to doing movie reviews, thank God. So yeah, I'm finally done, so as you'll know, I'm finally done reviewing the Harry Potter books. I might review the Lord of the Rings books, but that's going to take me a really long time to do because I have to read them all, and that's going to take a real long time to do. So, I might start off with The Hobbit first and then The Lord of the Rings. Of course, I have to read The Hobbit first before I can review that, so yeah. I'm just gonna stick to doing reviews of movies and TV shows and stuff like that before I get back into reviewing books and stuff, so yeah. So anywho, what I'm gonna be reviewing today, or tonight, or wherever in the world you are, well, it's nighttime here in Washington State, so yeah, just forget what I said about the whole time thing or whatever. So today, I'm going to be reviewing a movie that I've only seen like a couple times, and I'm actually starting to like this movie, and I think it's really good. Plus, the Nostalgia Critic actually said that this was like the number one underrated movie or something like that. I mean, trust me, if you see the Nostalgia Critics list, like top 11 lists, and he does reviews of like the top 11 nostalgic, underrated classics, and he put this particular film at number 1. And what is that movie, you might ask? Well, it is none other than The Secret of NIMH. That's right. I'm going to be reviewing The Secret of NIMH. And I know that guy with the hat has done his review of The Secret of NIMH, but, well, I just felt like I wanted to review this movie too. I mean, I don't know how many other people have reviewed this movie, but I figured I could add my 2 cents to a movie that is just so wonderfully good and just so amazing. I mean, the animation is great, the characters are fantastic, the plot is great, and it just really bugs the living daylights out of me that barely anyone has ever heard of this movie. I mean, it is an underrated nostalgia classic. I mean, I have to agree with the Nostalgia Critic on that 100%. So basically, this movie is an adaptation of the book Mrs. Frisby and the Rites of NIMH. But in the movie, they changed the character's name to Mrs. Brisby, so that way there wouldn't be any conflict with the Frisby Company, etc., yada, yada, yada. So anywho, basic plot of this movie is that, well, it starts off with like a little narration by the main rat, Nicodemus, and we meet him later on in the movie and stuff like that. So then, sorry, I have some nose issues, I don't know why. So anyway, then after all that, we meet Mrs. Brisby, and she's getting some medicine for her son, Timmy, who is sick with pneumonia, and of course she gets some help from Mr. Ages, or whatever his name is, but yeah. So then she goes home, but then she meets this crow, or raven, or whatever he is, Jeremy, voiced by Don DeLuise. Oh yeah, that's right. The DeLuises. If I'm not too mistaken, one of them actually plays, if I'm not too much mistaken, there's a DeLuise on Wizards of Waverly Place. I'm not kidding you. Too bad that show's almost going to be over. But anywho, I digress. So, anywho, so then Mrs. Brisby finally gets home, and she delivers the medicine to her son, Timmy, and of course we meet her kids. One of them, I'm really surprised by this. I'm not joking about this. One of the kids, oh gosh, what's his name? Martin, that's it. He's voiced by Will Wheaton. Now, why does that name sound so familiar? Well, it's because, later on he played Wesley Crusher on Star Trek The Next Generation, and of course, he's well known for being in that movie, Stand By Me, and other stuff, and, he's on Eureka now, and whatever else he's been doing lately, and stuff like that. I mean, seriously, come on, this is Wesley Crusher. I mean, yeah, this is Will Wheaton pre-Star Trek The Next Generation, and so on and so forth. So, yeah. And of course, we meet one of the daughters who I really don't remember her name, and also anti-shrew and stuff like that. And so yeah, and also, you know, Mrs. Brisby, her family has to move away because of Farmer Fitzgibbon's plow, and it's a really big threat to all the animals living out there in the field and stuff like that. So yeah, so anyway, she needs to get some help, and so then she goes to see the great owl who apparently knows her husband Jonathan, who is dead, and so on and so forth. So then the great owl recommends that she goes to see the rats of NIMH, and well, Nicodemus specifically, and plus what on earth does NIMH stand for anyway? Like, what does it mean? Well, in this movie we find out. It stands for the National Institute for Mental Health. Yeah, pretty interesting name, huh? But anywho, so then Mrs. Brisby, she goes to see the rats of NIMH, and she entrusts Jeremy with watching over her kids and stuff like that. Of course, they pretty much just time up, and they really don't believe him. We know when he says to them that their mom is going to go see the rats of NIMH and stuff like that. So yeah. So anywho, we get to where the rats of NIMH live, and of course we get introduced to Jeremy, who, the guy with the hat has said this before, but Justin, like, his look changes a lot throughout this movie. I mean, first starts off looking like a fox, and then like a wolf at some point, and then he finally looks more like a rat, and instead of whatever he's supposed to look like in the beginning when we first meet him. I mean honestly, when we first see him, he honestly looks like a freaking fox, okay? And this is supposed to be where the rats live, so why would there be a freaking fox there? That doesn't make any sense. But anyway, by the end of the movie, Justin's look changes so that he actually looks more like a rat instead of a fox or whatever. So anywho, so then Mrs. Brisby she meets the other rats, including the bad guy, and I honestly forget what the bad guy's name is. I mean, he's just, I just forget what his name is. It's been a while since I've watched this movie, so cut me some slack there, guys. So anywho, so she finally meets Nicodemus, who is a very interesting character, and he's actually my favorite character in the entire movie. I mean, he's just so likable, and like I said, he is my all-time favorite character in this movie, without a doubt. So anywho, so then he tells Mrs. Brisby about how the rats were captured, and then they were experimented on, and they eventually got intelligence, and they were able to read and talk and so on and so on, and they broke out of NIMH, and then it was revealed that Jonathan Brisby got killed while drugging Farmer Fitzgibbon's pet cat Dragon and stuff like that, and yeah. So anywho, so Nicodemus works out a plan to move the Brisbys home so that they'll be safe and protected from the plow and stuff like that, but in order for the plan to work successfully or something like that, there's a scene where she has to drug Dragon's food, and then she eventually gets caught and stuff like that, and of course before she leaves, Nicodemus gives her a necklace or charm or whatever it is, and apparently it possesses a great power and stuff like that. So yeah. So eventually Mrs. Brisby breaks out of her cage and stuff like that, and she eventually finds out of the bad guy's plot to kill Nicodemus or something like that, and well, actually she finds out that NIMH is coming, and she has to warn everyone to move away and get out of there before NIMH comes, and infiltrates their home, Thorn Valley or whatever. Um, so yeah, but during the plan to relocate the Brisby home, unfortunately Nicodemus gets killed by the bad guy's plan, and then Mrs. Brisby comes to tell the rats that Nim is coming and stuff like that. Then there's this big fight that ensues, and Justin and the bad guy, they fight and they fight and they fight and they fight until Justin wins, and so on and so forth. And then through the power of the necklace and Mrs. Brisby's determination to rescue her family, the house gets out of the mud or quicksand or whatever that was, and then and the rats they move away from Thorn Valley to not get caught by Nim, and of course the Brisbys are now relocated to a safe place, and that's the end of the movie. So yeah, overall I really do like The Secret of Nim. It's a fantastic movie. I love it. It was just so successful that it was just so good, and I freaking love it. And of course, eventually led to a sequel, which the nostalgia critics said just wasn't really all that good, and it placed way too much emphasis on one of the most minor characters from the first movie, and that was Timmy, who apparently was the main character, who apparently became the main character in the sequel, and so on and so forth, yada yada yada, etc., etc. And then, when Timmy gets older and stuff like that, he's voiced by the Karate Kid himself, Ralph Macchio, and yeah, fun, joy, joy. But anywho, I digress. So, do I like this movie? Yes. Do I love this movie? Hell yeah! This is a great movie. I mean, seriously. Now, I got this movie on VHS at Goodwill. My grandma bought it for me, etc., etc., etc. But, if you're just roaming through like a Goodwill store or something like that, and you come across this movie, buy it, watch it, you will not regret it. Seriously, guys, you are not going to regret watching this movie at all. It's a great movie. It's fantastic. This is like Don Bluth at his best. Now, of course, the other Don Bluth movie I've ever seen was Thumbelina, and I'm probably not going to look at that movie anytime soon because, it's at my grandma's, and B, well, I think the nostalgia chick just pretty much laid out all the wrong about that movie, so yeah, there you go. But still, I definitely recommend you guys go out and get this movie, watch it. You are not going to be disappointed. It's just a great movie. Of course, I'm going to put it in my favorite movies playlist because I freaking love this movie. It's so fantastic. It's great. If you love it as much as I do, then perfect. If you've not seen this movie, you are missing out on a fantastic movie. The characters are fantastic. The animation is just really superb. It's just great early 80s animation. It's fantastic. Everything about it is just so wonderful. I mean, seriously, when I watched this movie for the first time, I fell head over heels in love with this movie. Of course, granted, I was tempted to get some other things at that Goodwill. Like, I was tempted to get friggin' Labyrinth, but I don't know if I watch it or not, but I probably would, but oh well. But yeah, there you go. But still, Secret of Nim, it's a great movie. I definitely recommend you guys should go out and get it, and trust me, when you watch this movie for the first time, you are not going to regret it. Trust me. Even though I've seen this movie like twice, I really do love this movie. It's fantastic. It's great. I definitely recommend you guys go out, buy it, and watch it. You are not going to regret a single moment of watching this movie. So, yeah, that's pretty much it for now. I'll talk to you guys tomorrow or something like that. So, anywho, yeah, bye. Comment, rate, subscribe, live long and prosper, and peace